Okay, so welcome to the second part of this pediatric ECG class. So in this section, we will be discussing only focusing on just the three things. So premature atrial contractions, premature ventricular contractions, and PR intervals. Premature atrial contractions, the name itself says that these are premature contractions, so they happen just earlier than expected. So on a typical ECG, we see that the abnormal P waves will appear earlier than expected. We look at this P wave QRS, T, P, QRS, T, P, QRS, T here. Just after the T wave, this refractory period is not there and there's a abnormal P wave has happened, and followed by the narrow QRS, which is similar to the normal QRSs, but the difference here is that the duration is earlier. So this usually denotes that that's a premature atrial contraction. These are usually benign, but they are a common cause of sensation of irregular rhythm as felt by many people, and it can cause symptoms like skipping beats and palpitations. Usually there is no treatment. Reassurance is required. With a lot of symptoms, particularly in adults, you may advise them to stop smoking, decrease caffeine and ethyl alcohol intake. And beta blockers can be used to reduce frequency, but they are very rarely that much symptomatic in children. Premature ventricular contractions, basically it's a premature beat from an ectopic focus within the ventricles. How it is originates, how it happens is that normally they are a group of pacemaker cells in the heart. They spontaneously depolarize. Usually it's the SA node. So the rate of depolarization decreases from top to bottom. It's fastest at the SA node and it is slowest within the ventricles. Because the SA node is the fastest, usually it is the dominant pacemaker and it suppresses all the other small activity, depolarization activity of the other parts, other tissue in the heart. So the ectopic impulses are normally suppressed. However, if the ectopic impulse depolarizes early enough, it may, or prior to the arrival of the next impulse from the SA node, then it may capture the ventricle, producing a contraction. This usually leads to a premature ventricular contraction. It's also it's a ectopics. It's also one of the ectopics. If it is atrial, then it's premature atrial. It could be junctional or it could be ventricular, premature ventricular contraction. This is how it looks. This is a P wave QRS, followed by this seems like a T wave. After T wave, there is, you can see this QRS, this complex is totally different than this one. So it's a wide QRS and it's an abnormal morphology. And this is again in this example that how it is identifiable. These are the normal PQRS complexes, and if you look at this one, it's a wide QRS complex and it's very wide and different from the other ones, and it has appeared earlier than expected. So PQRS T, this is earlier than expected, PQRS T earlier than expected, and it's wide. The morphology is different. So the ECG features usually are that it's a broad QRS complex, wide, more than 120 milliseconds with abnormal morphology, premature, as the name suggests, occurs earlier than expected, discordant ST and T wave changes. It is usually followed by a full compensatory pause, and retrograde capture of the atria may or may not occur. So these are the properties in the ECG for a premature ventricular contraction. The types, if it is arising from a single focus, then each PVC will be identical. The example that we looked at, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these are identical. So this is sorry, this would be called as a unifocal PVC. If it is arising from two or more ectopic foci, then it will be multiple QRS morphologies. Every other beat is a PVC, it's bigeminy. Every third beat PVC is trigeminy. Quadrigeminy is every fourth beat. And two consecutive PVCs are called a couplet, and three consecutive PVCs is called a triplet. The clinical significance is that these are a normal electrophysiological phenomenon, usually do not require any investigation or treatment. If you have a lot of frequent PVCs, then you can get a skip bleed feeling similar to the premature atrial contractions. In patients who have an underlying disease in the heart like ischemic heart disease, WPW syndrome, congenital heart disease, post-surgery scarring. The PVC may trigger onset of a re-entrant tachyarrhythmia like a ventricular tachycardia, AV nodal re-entry tachycardia, AV re-entry tachycardia. In that case, it may lead to some sinister symptoms. So these are called frequent. How many PVCs would be significant? So if there are more than 5 PVCs per minute on routine ECG or more than 10 to 30 per hour during the ambulatory monitoring, then they are labeled as frequent PVCs. Causes are anxiety, sympathomimetics, beta agonists, excess caffeine, and electrolyte disturbance like hypokalemia, hypomagnesemia, digoxin toxicity, ischemia can cause the appearance of frequent PVCs. So the something about P waves and followed by PR intervals. The normal P wave amplitude should be known. It's usually less than 3 millimeter. A tall P waves usually suggest right atrial enlargement. Normal P wave duration is less than 0.09 seconds in children and less than 0.07 seconds in infants. So wide P waves usually suggest a left atrial enlargement. These are also called P pulmonale and these wide ones are called P mitral. A combination of tall and wide P waves occurs in combined atrial hypertrophy. In particular, P wave, the significance of these waves and this duration of the P waves, we'll look at the clinical examples and the third or the fourth part of this pediatric ECG series. So the PR interval, it's measured as we have seen in the previous section lecture that beginning of the P wave to the beginning of QRS complex is PR interval. 0 to 1 month 0.12 and as the age goes it's usually less than 0.21 seconds. Prolonged PR interval can happen in myocarditis, rheumatic fever, digitalis toxicity, hyperkalemia. A short PR interval is a few causes like pre-excitation and Pompe disease. So in older children and adolescents, PR interval less than 0.2 is normal. It's less than 0.2 but it does not adjoin a wide base QRS, then PR interval is likely normal. So less than 0.2 would mean a one big box, one large square as we have seen, and one small square is 0.04 second. At any age, if it is more than 0.2 seconds, more than 200 milliseconds or more than one big box, then it clearly means that it's long and it is consistent with the first degree AV block. In infants and young children, PR interval more than 0.16, 160 milliseconds or 4 small boxes is long and also consistent with first degree AV block. PR intervals are expressed in seconds and QT intervals as milliseconds. Using lead 2 or the lead with the least artifact, we have to inspect the PR, QRS and QT intervals. We can measure them and can be expressed as second or millisecond. One small square is 0.04 or 40 millisecond. One big box is 0.2 or 200 milliseconds. So prolonged PR interval, we have seen the causes. Short, we have seen variable can occur in ventricular atrial pacemaker and Wenckebach's second degree heart block, Mobitz type 1 heart block phenomenon. If you look at this example, this is QRS T, this is the P wave and this is the R wave. If we measure from the start of the P wave, start of the P wave here to the start of the QRS complex here. So this is we marked it, so it's definitely longer than one big box, longer than 200 millisecond. This PR is prolonged; it measures more than one large box, so it's prolonged. This PR interval is prolonged. If you look at this, this is an infant. This is QRS TP, starting from here to here. If you measure it just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it would be 4 small boxes. So this is basically 0.16. Anything more than 0.16 will be prolonged. So here it is more than 4 small boxes, 1 small box 0.4 40 milliseconds, so more than 160 milliseconds, so it is prolonged. The short PR interval can adjoin the QRS and may be normal if the QRS is narrow or it may be abnormal and consistent with the pre-excitation. As we've seen, one of the causes of short PR interval is pre-excitation syndrome, or WPW syndrome. So 1930, Wolf, Parkinson, and White have described this EKG appearance of a short PR associated with the widened QRS. The widened QRS consists of a characteristic upstroke or downstroke forming a delta wave. For the D shape, the upstroke or downstroke makes the vertical part of the QRS. Look at this example here, PQRS TP. Here this is a very short PR because this P and immediately R wave has happened. This is even hardly two small squares, or hardly 0.08 seconds or 80 milliseconds. This is the delta wave downstroke, this is the delta wave upstroke. The slurred uptake, P and PR is short, and this is the upstroke. This is P again QRS, and this is the downstroke. So this all in this part of the series. We'll look at some remaining parts and clinical examples in the next upcoming parts.